What is going on, everyone? Happy Tuesday. Not a victory Tuesday, again, unfortunately, but it's kind of expected given the circumstances, right? Given the fact that we were looking at mostly second and third stringers playing, not hugely surprising there, I guess. How are we all doing? How's the week treating you guys? I got the giveaway link here tonight. Someone's winning a signed jersey, so kind of tune in for that. My camera's being silly again. Give me 1 second, man. I need a I'll be back option here because it's super frustrating that it does this every other week. 1 second here. Every other week, I swear. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't touch it. I don't adjust it. Just every other week, the autofocus wants to get all weird on me. But anyway, happy Tuesday. Thanks for dealing with my technical difficulties here. Here is that giveaway link. If you're new here, if it's your first time watching, only enter one time throughout the show, please. I'm going to post it multiple times. Just enter once, please. Makes my life a lot easier. That's for sure. And like I said, one of these is a signed jersey. I don't know how we managed to come down to the final stretch like we did, but one of the final two is a signed jersey. So should be exciting. We got Patrick back, checking in from Reno Valley, California. And Patrick, did I see correctly that you are a nominee for the Fan Hall of Fame, for the Packers Hall of Fame? Like the fan, I don't know what, Packers Fan Hall of Fame nominee of the year. Did I see that right? I would assume that's you if the name lines up. If so, that's super awesome. I'd be curious to hear more about that process, but that's super cool. Corey checking in from New Ulm. Good to see you. We got Ron swinging in from Appleton. Good to see you, Ron, as always. Fellow Ben. Do I just call you West Coast Ben? What's up, my Midwesterner fellow Ben? Fellow Ben, how you doing, man? Jay, good to see you. Good to see you. Brian, hey, Brian, good to see you. Yes, Fan Hall of Fame. Okay, finalist. That's awesome, man. That's super cool. I saw I saw you join last week, and then we talked, and then I saw the finalist named, and I looked at it, and I was like, that name looks really familiar. And then I kind of put two and two together. That's super awesome, man. That's best of luck to you. I hope you get it. That's really awesome. Super cool. It is Swag Coda's birthday today. Happy birthday, Dakota. My guy Dakota. Happy birthday. We go way back, man. We go way back. So super awesome. Heather, good to see you. Joshua. Hello, my friend. Joshua, I got to get your address. I was meaning to email you today, but I got to get that to you. Looking forward to round 3 indeed. It's going to be nerve-wracking. We'll be talking about it for sure. Joe, good to see you, man. Hope all is going well, man. Always good to see you there. All right. Trying to see. Kirby, I dedicate my win later tonight to Steve. I like that. Steve said, good evening and happy Take Back the North Throne week. Chad, I like the idea. So Chad says your I'll be back should just be Micah Parson highlights. I like the idea. The only problem is the NFL would copyright strike me, and that would not be good. That would not be good. Wade the Bot says Bears week. Let's go, buddy. Let's go. Christy checking in from Canada. What's up, Pops? Good to see you. All right. Well, we pasted the giveaway link. There is I'm not going to go too crazy into detail on that game. Obviously, the outcome was not in the Packers' favor, falling to the Vikings 16-3. We didn't get skunked. I think that's the highlight of the game. Oh boy. I saw a lot of people online that were frustrated that the Packers sat a majority of their starters, which is kind of funny in a certain way, because people are like, oh, this is football. You're supposed to play football. You're supposed to play for the win. You don't want to rest these guys, and then they're going to be rusty. I don't know about you guys, but I remember January 5th of 2025 when Packers rolled out and lost Christian Watson to an ACL injury, had Jordan Love sustain an elbow injury, and then fans were like, well, why were they even playing? It's a meaningless game. Why were they playing? At that time, I think the Packers were trying to get the 6th seed as opposed to the 7th seed. So they at least had seeding to play for. And people were wondering why they were in. And now this week, they had nothing, no benefit to playing except for the benefit of finishing out the season strong and potentially not allowing Russ to be there. But I don't know about you, but I'm more than okay with the guys resting. There's no benefit of you're not going to gain anything by playing that game. You're only going to lose. And I think it's the right decision to let those guys sit. The Packers had their bye week 5 of this year. It's been a long time since their bye week. Giving them an extra opportunity to sit down and rest and recover and let their body have a week off of hits, I think that's a win all across the board. And if the Packers come out looking very sluggish, so be it. But I think I would much rather have that be the reality we face as opposed to you go into a meaningless game in Minnesota and now you sustain another serious injury. You have other guys get banged up, and now you're heading into a playoff game even more banged up than you already are. I know the 2010 Packers had a lot of players on injured reserve and a lot of injuries, but man, it feels like this team's dealing with it a lot more substantially than 2010. I was talking to I think it was Wado I was talking today about these injuries are like if we would have lost Clay and BJ Raji for the season, when you lose Wyatt and you lose Micah, those are two huge playmakers that make such a difference. And yes, the Packers in 2010 lost a lot of offensive weapons in Jermichael Finley and Ryan Grant, and they lost weapons like in the Super Bowl. Obviously, Donald Driver went down, and Charles Woodson broke his collarbone, but it just feels like the injuries are just piling up in the worst way for the Packers right now, and just making it a very, very, very uphill climb. But that being said, anything can happen. Let's check some comments here. Like I said, I'm not going to go too far in the weeds. I am going to talk about it a little bit, but not super crazy. Joshua, you can either message me or I can shoot you an email. Either one works for me. I would give you the email address, but I can always shoot you an email. Stu, good to see you, man. Watching hockey at the same time. I love it. That's awesome. Christy said, "I'm so happy we sat the starters in that preseason game. It did feel like a preseason game, didn't it? It was. It's nice to have those like stress-free games, but also at the same time, I don't think you want that in January the same way. I don't know. It's nice when you're the 1 seed and you have like the Matt Flynn game, and you can kind of be like, oh, this is stress-free, but it's nice. But you know, it is what it is. Patrick says, I do wish that Love had a few snaps, though, just to brush off that rust a little bit from not playing a few games. Yeah, I wonder, would a series of snaps make that much of a difference at that point? And I think the risk probably outweighs the reward. If it is a series of snaps to shake out the rust, then kind of so be it. But I just think that don't even take the risk. You're playing with second and third string offensive linemen. Do you really want Love to be out there trying to huck him, chuck him? We saw it didn't go well for Tune, so I don't know. Shame for Tune, but Steve said it was funny seeing Love on the sidelines with his helmet on, bouncing around like he was going to go. It was. He was staying ready, man. He was staying ready. Steven. Either way, let me know either way. I want to make sure I try to pronounce names properly. But first time viewer, I love your Can You Name This Packer videos. Thank you. I appreciate that. That is Sweet Coda, good to see you, man. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Um, let's see here. So I'm going to just keep talking about because I see Ben kind of chatting on some of the same topics here. But Clayton Tune finished the day 6 of 11 for 34 yards. Not great at all. And I say this in the most respectful way to Clayton. The drop off from a standard backup or even, Jordan Love, standard backup, whatever in the NFL to the caliber of Clayton Tune just blows my mind. He looked like it was just he looked like he was lost. And I say that in a very respectful way in the sense of there is a basketball player that has a quote that he says, "I'm closer to LeBron than you are to me." And that goes with Clayton Tune, right? Clayton Tune is better at football than I will be at anything in my life. I will never be top 150 in the world at anything I do. And Clayton Tune effectively did that. He's on a practice squad. There's 32 NFL teams. He is probably top 150, 200 people in the world right now at what he does. I will never, ever come close to being the top 200 best at anything I do. And the drop off that you see from a standard quarterback or a standard backup to where Clayton is at right now in his career, just mind blowing to me. Now, he didn't have a ton of favors by having second string, third string offensive linemen, and he's going against the ones. So it's an uphill battle for sure. But that is just such a mind blowing thing to watch and be thinking to yourself, man, he is such a he is such a talented individual when it comes to being a quarterback. And yet he still looks this rough. I can't even imagine what a high school quarterback being thrown into that system would look like, or God forbid if I got thrown into that system and tried to look like a quarterback for a game. It just blows my mind. That was like my takeaway from the game is despite being so good at something, he looks so like the talent level just looks so off. But unfortunately for Clayton, he did get released today. But the Packers, it's not, I guess, not super surprising considering the Packers signed that let's see, Desmond Ridder. They signed Desmond Ridder. So not super surprising that they released Tune, and Ritter's going to be the third string quarterback. Willis is going to be good to go if they need him for the backup, but they are elevating that third string just in case. But like Ben was mentioning, and why I wanted to jump in here and kind of talk about the game a little bit more, kudos to our defense. Even with being mostly second and third stringers, it felt like they were still able to compete. They were stalling out drives for Minnesota. Yes, Minnesota put on points on the board just before halftime, but for the most part, the defense did a job pretty well. If I'm a Vikings fan watching that, I might be like, man, that's a little worrisome that our first string team isn't able to just like effortlessly move down the field when you have guys covering Justin Jefferson that probably aren't going to be in the league in 2 years. Justin obviously had, he had his stats. He got 1,000 yards on the season, but that was one I was surprised that the Vikings kept him in as long as they did because of that risk of injury. If he went down and had a very serious injury and it impacts the start of your 2026 season, fans are going to be just livid. And I was surprised they kept him in so long after after he hit that 1,000-yard mark. But I don't know. I really thought they were going to pull him out. But all right, let's see. I see some more stuff coming in here. Michael, good evening to you as well. Corey, what's up, buddy? Checking in from Australia. I love it. You guys, are we having any issues? Are you back, Patrick? Anyone else? My mic shows volume going, so it might just be you. Alfonso, good to see you, my friend. We got Josh checking in. Oladapo had a couple chances for some yeah, he really had them. He had his opportunities and he just didn't make the most of them. I was joking with the boys that even our second string defensive backs can't catch. So we got that going for us. Patrick says defense played great. Diggs looked good out there and also impressed with rookie wide receiver Keeney James. Yeah, I think Diggs is obviously going to get his opportunities in this defense with the injuries that we're having in our cornerback room right now, which that could be a huge ad for the Packers. We're talking about as well. Mercedes Lewis got cut today by the Broncos. And I was wondering if the Packers were going to potentially kick the tire on that because he is a tight end who is very good at blocking, which fits the Packers offense really well. And with their losses in their tight end room, they might want a big body tight end who can still block. But it's I don't know. We're getting to the nitty-gritty, that's for sure. Tony, what's up, man? How's it going over there? Okay, good. You guys can hear me. That's all right. That's good then. Just want to make sure I wasn't we ran into that not long ago. So Die, what's up, man? Playoffs. Yeah, dude. It's crazy that we're here. I've said this the last few weeks, but it's truly crazy that we are at this point already. Feels like the season just started and now here we are. Season's done. Coaches are being fired. I don't know if you guys saw Harbaugh got fired today. Kevin Stefanski got fired. Pete Carroll got fired. There's just coaches being terminated left and right. The Lions fired their offensive coordinator, which is really no shock because Campbell took over play calling. So anytime that happens to you, you're probably done. But there is a lot of terminations going on. I know the rumor mill is going about Matt LaFleur. I don't know. I wonder if I can post. I don't think I can post a poll in here. I would have to play around with this and learn if I can post a poll in here. I would like to do a poll because I'm curious. We kind of talked about this a little bit last week, but the rumor mill right now is if the Packers were to lose to the Bears this weekend, that both Matt and Goot would be fired. And if they were to win, both of them would get extensions. That's what the rumor mill is right now. Schefter reported yesterday that both of them are going to be getting extensions this offseason. So I'm not sure what's the truth there. But do you guys think that the Packers would move on from those two if they fall to the Bears? Or what's your thought? I personally don't see a world in which they just make a false swoop across both of them. I'm not going to say it can't happen because obviously it can happen. I would just be very surprised that you would just make a false swoop on both of them based off of one single game. If they were on the bubble that much, I would think that this game wouldn't really matter as to the outcome of if they're keeping their jobs or not. I don't know. Hey, Sebastian. Good to see you, man. How's everything going? Also note that the guy named Kirby tries to rig the giveaways. It's Kirby's the one that says it's rigged. I don't know, Steve. You're the one that won last week, so you're the one. Corey says, now who do we bring in? I kind of in the same thing, but I also didn't know who Matt LaFleur was prior to the Packers hiring him, so it's not like I would know either. But I kind of always said that I think head coaches are kind of like presidents, that they should have a max of 8 years. In very few exceptions to that, but mostly if you're not doing it in 8 years, it's hard to see you getting to the mountaintop. Packers have had their opportunities. Matt's put them in positions to get there. We just haven't. So I don't know. We will see. Patrick says, I don't see us firing, but I do see MLF on the hot seat if we lose, given one more season to fix things. Yeah, the tough part is next season is his last season. So if let's say you're saying, hey, he's on the hot seat, and then you don't renew him, and he comes out guns blazing next year, then you immediately try to re-sign him because you're like, hey, we got to take care of this. But then he loses immediately in the playoffs. Do you have that buyer's regret? I don't know. Thankfully, either way, a coach's salary does not go on the salary cap. One thing that does frustrate me about Matt is I think sometimes he can be too loyal to a degree. I think we kept Joe Barry around a little too long. I think we're keeping Rich around probably a little bit too long. We were ranked 32nd in special teams the last couple of years. This special teams unit has lost us a few games now. So I think those, like, that's, if I had a gripe, that's my biggest gripe. I think play calling can get frustrating, right? When you see a lot of repetitive plays, especially in those crucial third ones, fourth and ones, you're running a inside run on a shotgun. That gets frustrating. But every coach is going to have those mistakes they make or have those frustrating things. But I think the loyalty to certain coaches that just aren't performing is what frustrates me the most. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Gruden, see, I'm not as high on Gruden as a lot of people. I know he won a Super Bowl when he was with Tampa, but I feel like he took over Dungy's team and a team that was already consistently getting the playoffs. And I love Dungy, so maybe I'm just a little bit biased on it, but I'm not as big of a Gruden guy. I love him as a personality, but from a coaching perspective, I don't know. Let's see here. Hey, Brittany, good to see you. Good to see you. And we got Sam checking in. Hey, man, how's it going? Sam says, I don't think you can change the defensive coordinator and the head coach at the same time. Well, generally, if a head coach gets fired, the entire coaching staff goes as well. So that's usually how it goes because the new coach comes in and brings in all of his coaching staff and he kind of assembles his own thing. So it's not uncommon. I think did Matt, when Matt came in, I don't think he keep, was Pettin the coach then, the defensive coordinator, and he kept Pettin for 19 and 20? Or am I missing, or someone else in there? I want to say that's how it went, but I don't know that that's usually how it goes. Like when McCarthy took over Dallas, I think he brought his entire coaching staff in there. So here's that giveaway link once again. I'm not going to talk too much more about the coaching thing just because it's all hypotheticals and rumors, but there's that giveaway link. If you haven't entered, do so now. If you've already entered, don't need to enter a second time. Let's get into these burning hot questions. We can hang out, answer some questions, and then like I said, one of these is a jersey giveaway tonight. I'm not sure which one, but one of them is a signed jersey. So someone's going to be winning an awesome jersey, and there's going to be more to that. I'm not sure if the jersey is going to be a Paul Kaufman or a Lucas Van Ness. It's going to be depending on whoever selects the card. They have kind of some secondary homework to go with it. So start dropping your burning hot questions if you got them. Once again, it doesn't have to be just football. It could be anything fun, but we can get into that. Shout out to my friends over at Legend Larry's for being proud sponsors of the show. If you are coming into town, if you're in the area, check out Legend Larry's if you are wanting some great wings. Matthew Golden goes there like 2 to 3 times a week, he says. So if Matthew's going there, it's good. I've been supporting Legend Larry's a lot longer than they've been supporting my show and my content. And I would be supporting them gladly, even if they weren't proud sponsors. So go check them out if you are in town. Tell them I sent them your way. Let's see here. Let's get to Joshua. I had this one start here. Joshua says, who needs to be the game breaker this weekend in order for us to win? I think if the Packers were going to show up, great question, Joshua. I think if the Packers were going to truly show up and kind of dominate this game start to finish, I think we need to see a pass rush that actually gets home on Caleb. Caleb does such an incredible job of getting himself out of really sticky situations. And I think you need to have a pass rush that can not only pressure him, but get home and force those negative plays, those sacks. Maybe you can get a fumble from him. They do such a great job of taking care of the football, and Caleb does such a great job of throwing from weird angles that you need to get him on the ground and you cannot let him extend plays. Whoever it is that can do that, I don't know if it's Gary, if LVN, maybe it's Barron. Barron Sorrell looked phenomenal in the game against Minnesota. Maybe he gets some more opportunities, but either way, you need to actually get Caleb on the ground. You need to make him uncomfortable. By no means target him in the head like maybe a Chicago player would do, but you know, just get him on the ground. Don't go too crazy, but just get him on the ground. I think if you can really interfere and impact Caleb's game, I think you have a really good chance. But it is going to be a tough one. I have some stats that will kind of break out later. A little bit skewed because of the fact that the Packers did sit everyone last week. So the Packers dropped quite a bit just because their team offensively was terrible. And, whenever you're playing second, third stringers, but what have you. Steve says, burning hot question. Do you think Goot will get a contract done with Diggs or let him test free agency? So Diggs is still under contract. The Packers, when they did take over, when they signed him off of waivers, they essentially signed him they essentially picked up his contract. Now the question is, will the Packers keep him for that contract? I haven't looked at what his salary is going to be next year. He did sign a very hefty deal with Dallas. I don't think he has any more guaranteed money left on his deal, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the Packers are going to keep him around under that deal. So right now it feels like a rent-a-body through the postseason and kind of assess from there. If you could get him cheap enough or restructure him and get him in the building cheap enough, then maybe it's something that you do because of the fact that he has good connection with Micah and maybe a good pass rush can bring him alive again as a cornerback. So I don't know. It's a tough one. Joshua says, do people tailgate at the stadium for road games? No, generally not. There's not. I mean, I don't go down to the stadium during the game itself, but generally I don't see it. More so you like go to Stadium View or some of the local bars, but I don't see many people hanging out in the parking lot in a general day. If there's events going on and stuff, people will be in the parking lot, but people aren't just like hanging out tailgating. Chad says, do you like adding an 18th game to the season will make the on-field I think maybe you said, do you think adding an 18th game to the season will make the on-field product better or worse? A lot of these games this past weekend didn't mean much. If you're going to add an 18th game, I almost feel like you need to have a second bye week. The Packers had their bye week, week 4, week 5? And then by the time you're getting to the postseason, everyone's just bandaged up. Everyone's so banged up. It's such a difficult thing to go for so long in this game that is so physical. I didn't like adding a 17th game. I don't like the idea of adding an 18th game for that reason. Plus, I think when you're adding more games, you're taking away from more preseason. And preseason is not exciting, right? It's for most people don't like preseason games because it's second, third string players playing. I love preseason because I love watching guys who are trying to fight for a job, who are trying to stay in the league, keep their dreams alive, do whatever they need to. And the more you shorten preseason, when we moved to 17, we dropped from 4 games to 3 games. The more you shorten preseason, I feel like the less time you have to evaluate those guys in a true football game. And I think that does a lot of disservice to the sport as a whole. So I think when you're adding 18th games, then you're probably trimming that down. And I just don't like that. I would much rather be at 16 game season, 4 preseason games, and kind of keep the product how it was. But I mean, the jump from 12 to 16 games, that's pretty wild when they did that. I don't know off the top of my head if there was like a middle ground in between there. I was pretty young. I think they went to a 16 game season in like 1990. So All right. Making sure I didn't miss any questions here. Ron says, who gets more snaps, Baron Sorrell or Rashawn Gary? That's a good question. I mean, Barron's looks so great that I wouldn't mind seeing him get more snaps, but I think they're probably going to give Rashawn more of those opportunities because of what he's paid. I don't think it's I don't think it's I don't think it's going to surprise anyone if Rashawn Gary's gone after this year. I think it'd probably surprise more people if he wasn't. I don't know what would surprise me more if Rashawn Gary was here or if Rich was still here. I think probably Rashawn just because of his draft or his salary cap. But I think the writing's on the wall that it's Rashawn's last year, which is unfortunate. I don't know what transpired when the last couple of years Rashawn seemed like a very disruptive guy on the defensive line. And yes, he wasn't always getting sacks, but he was getting a lot of pressures and he was really able to force the quarterback to be uncomfortable. And it seems like this year it's just, I don't know if Micah coming in and kind of being the guy in the defensive line, like messed with him. I don't know if he's just, I don't know. I like Rashawn too, and that's the tough part, but I don't know. It's just a tough one. It's a tough one. Joshua says, who on the free agency for defensive end would you go after only if they cut Gary? I don't think that they would. Money's going to be tight. There's no doubt about it. The Packers don't have a ton of money, and I think they are going to expect the guys that they have drafted to step into that role. Baron Sorrell has looked great. I think you're going to say, okay, maybe he gets a better, more snaps, more opportunities. Ngabari, another guy who seems to really make plays every single game. Maybe he starts getting more opportunities, but I think they're going to really lean on. Now, Ngabari is a free agent after this year, but I think if they're going to re-sign him or if they're going to go after someone, they're going to go after homegrown talent that they know. So I think they'll try to re-sign him. And I think they're going to try to pair him up with Micah, have LVN yet in there, and then you have Baron Sorrell as well. So I don't know. It's just I don't think they go after anyone. Free agency is pretty tough because of the fact that you are overpaying for talent. Aaron Banks, we signed him to a pretty massive contract because you are overpaying for talent. That's why back in the day, Ted Thompson never really did a ton in free agency because a lot of times the price you are paying doesn't match the value you are getting. You are paying a premium price. He hit on some, Charles Woodson, Julius Peppers, he did really well, but he also signed Jeff Saturday, who got benched for Evan Dietrich Smith midway through the year. He signed Cedric Benson. There's a lot of guys that he signed that at the time you're like, oh man, that's a great name. But he always kind of got guys more towards the point where maybe that a lot maybe thought their career was done. And sometimes he was right, sometimes he was wrong. But it's tough when you're signing guys because they get expensive fast. Andy says, do you think Dion goes to Cleveland? I think they just do it for publicity. Andy, that wouldn't I don't know. If I'm an owner of an NFL team, I think I would have an issue with my head coach and his son being a player for that team. I don't know. I don't know. I think Cleveland is not looking for the media circus. I think they are looking to right the ship. And they still have Deshaun Watson under contract. So I don't know that they're going to want a guy who's going to come in and have maybe preferential treatment. I think Dion also thinks he has a sweet gig in Colorado. He has a lot of kind of say there, which helps him a lot. And the NFL is just a different world. So I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good question. MJ, I think MJ says I think bye week should be a universal in the middle of the season. Yeah, the scheduling of that's always weird, right? Sometimes you get it like super late in the year, sometimes it's super early, and every team has it a little bit different. They always need to keep a consistent product on the field, so you can't take a complete week off. But you would think that they'd do something. I don't know. It's I don't know. I don't know how you logistically do that, but Sam says, do you trust the Packers defense to win this playoff game, or does this unit still feel like the biggest question mark on the team? I don't I don't not trust this Packers defense. This Packers defense still has a lot of talent on it. Last year they were a top 5 unit. You know, they didn't have Parsons last year. Yes, the run game's still a little at best, but you're not playing Derrick Henry every week, which is great. I think the Packers did a really good job of stifling the Bears last time they played them in Chicago. Unfortunately, the Bears ended up winning that game on some kind of last second black magic, as they've done a lot this year. But I still feel like this defense can win games when you start looking maybe beyond them at Seattle or the 49ers, some of those ones. Then maybe it's a little bit as the weapons kind of increase. But I think this defense can definitely win the game. I think there's always going to be question marks. My biggest question mark's going to be the offensive line and defensive line. Really, if both of those can go really well, I like our chances. Yeah, Kelly. I mean, I agree with you. At for definitely like pace shouldn't matter. Production is key. If Sorrell is productive, he should play. I still think you're going to see him split snaps. That's just kind of how it goes in the NFL. But um, they very well could do it differently, but it would not surprise me. You're paying the guy to be productive. He has a track record of doing good things on the field, and because he hasn't had a ton of success this year, I don't think that they'll just completely shelf him. I think they're gonna do as much as they can with him and try to get him the opportunities to win where he can. But I don't disagree with you though at all. All right, Alfonso says link please. Here you go, Alfonso. Matthew says, if we beat the Bears, can we beat Seattle? I am too optimistic to a fault at times, so I think that the Packers can win any game uh, until the clock hits 0. I'm pretty much thinking the Packers can win any game, even this past weekend with the Packers Vikings. As bad as our offense looked, I was still like, hey, we're kind of keeping them, from scoring. We could probably still win this game. Um, Randall says, is Willis going to be active? Yeah, Willis and Love will both be active. Love's obviously starting. Willis is second. And then Desmond Ritter is their third stringer. Jenny, good to see you. All right. Randall says they should start Love, play him most of the game, and then in certain situations put Willis in on third downs to screw with the Bears. This is a little wrinkle that will mess with them, and we could be a difference in the game. Randall, I don't disagree with you at all. I think we've talked about that a little bit, especially when you're seeing those shotgun runs on those 3rd and 1s, 4th and 1s, where it's like the RPO, right? The Jordan could pull it and tuck it, but 99.9% of the time he doesn't. I don't know why you don't put Willis in at those situations and really let it be a dual threat play. I don't think anyone has an issue with that. I would suspect that Love's not going to care if Willis is in there for one play or 2 plays to increase your chances of being productive on those downs. I agree with you 100%. I think we've talked about that before. Let's see here. UK Lee, good to see you, man. Go Pack Go from Plymouth, UK. That's wild. Appreciate you checking in. Appreciate you hanging out. Andy says, we gonna roll with Ritter as our backup next year, do you think? Yeah, I think right now that feels like the viable option, right? Because Malik's gonna be gone. I don't see a world in which Malik is back. I think we've talked about this too, but I think Malik is going to go try his opportunities. Hopefully he gets some money, right? He can get paid and hopefully try his opportunities. Hopefully he's able to get a start somewhere. Miami, it sounds like Miami is maybe done with Tua. It sounds like Tua's maybe done with Miami. So there's an opportunity there. I think he would do really well in Miami with Mike McDaniel. It sounds like they're keeping Mike for another year at least. So I think he would do really well in that offensive scheme. And I hope he goes to an AFC team. I hope we don't have to deal with him, and we can kind of enjoy watching him. Speaking of AFC quarterbacks, I'm excited that Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers made the playoffs because I'm gonna be rooting for them throughout the postseason. What a finish that was! I didn't see it. I was sleeping. Uh, I have a 2-year-old who wakes me up too often yet, uh, so I didn't see the end of that game. But I watched the recap the next day, and holy cow, what a game! What a game! All right, let's. Here's the giveaway link once again. Let's talk about this the Packers Bears game a little bit. And then we're going to do that giveaway. Once again, if you are new here, if it's your first time, fill that giveaway link out. Uh, Only do it one time throughout the episode. Don't do it multiple times. If you do, I got to try to filter it out and make sure I get you out of there. It said it gave me an error for Facebook. So let me know if you guys don't see that on Facebook, and I'll have to repost it. Matthew, you're asking. I know you just jumped in here. We talked about this a little bit. I did hear about the rumor. I don't personally believe it. I just don't think it goes off of a one game, right? Like, I don't know. Lee, that's dedication. 2:10 in the morning, getting practicing for the Bears game. Kyle, good to see you, man. Kyle says was cool seeing Rodgers and the Steelers get into the playoffs. I couldn't agree more, man. I'll always love Rodgers as a quarterback. I appreciate everything he's done immensely, and I think it's really fun to be able to kind of root for him and the Steelers to keep going in this season. I'm a fan of the Steelers as a whole. I love the city of Pittsburgh. They were great to me when I went there in 17 and for the Packers game. And it's just, it's a football town. It feels like the AFC Packers, a lot of history, a lot of winning. So I love to see what he's doing there, especially after the Jets kind of wrote him off. But all right, let's talk about this Bears game. This is the let me hold off from putting that up there right now. This is the third time the Packers and Bears are meeting in the postseason. The first time happened in 1941. The Bears beat the Packers then, and then the second time, obviously, the 2010 postseason run in the NFC Championship, where the Packers beat them to advance to Super Bowl 45. So they are 1-1 against each other. It is a 7 p.m. Central game, and then 8 p.m. Eastern. I gotta add that. I always get grief for not adding that, but. A beautiful thing about the playoffs is everyone is 0-0, but let's look at this matchup. Like I said, the stats are a little bit skewed since the Packers did sit most of their starters in week 18, whatever you want to call it, week 17 or 17th game, week 18, however you want to call it. But stat-wise, a lot of stuff is leaning more the Bears' way. Their offense is firing on all cylinders. But what's kind of odd is the last few weeks they've looked a little sluggish. They came alive late third, fourth quarter against the Lions. Against the Packers, they look sluggish up until about 10 minutes left in the game, something like that. So the Bears, I don't know. There's definitely flaws in their offense, but they put up a lot of points against the 49ers. So it's hard to say what Bears offense you're going to get. I spelled Packers wrong. Oh, on my stats here? Is that what you're talking about? Because I just have Green Bay. Throwing me off here, Steve. But defensively, Packers defense is looking much better than the Bears, despite last week playing second, third stringers, despite losing Micah and some of these other pieces. The Packers defense is still outperforming the Bears. So if there is a saving grace, is that the Packers defense hopefully can slow them down again, and I feel good enough that our offense can exploit that defense. That being said, no matter what you want to say about their defense from a stat perspective, the amount of turnovers they are generating this year is just blows my mind. 33 on the year, 23 interceptions, 10 fumbles. Last time we played them, we saw their ability to punch out the ball. We saw their ability to attack the ball carrier, to try to strip out the ball. They are aggressive at getting that ball out, and that is a scary thing. Last time we played them, Josh Jacobs fumbled at the 2 or 3 yard line because they punched it out. They are just good at generating takeaways. The Packers need to take care of the football. They need to take care of the football because, as you can see, the Bears also do not give the ball away. And that is a dangerous combination, and you can get yourself in a hole very fast. So with the Packers' inability to kind of take away the ball this year, it feels like they are struggling. They are getting opportunities. They are just not capitalizing on them. So could be a recipe for disaster. Big time. Big time, big time, big time. But all in all, everyone's 0-0 right now. It's a fresh start. Anything can happen in the postseason. I'm excited. I'm nervous. The Bears, the rivalry is back, which is a great thing for the Packers. I think anytime you can have those rivals kind of come alive and games mean something, I think that's a big win. And I'm sure Bears fans are excited about their opportunity here as well to beat the Packers out of the playoffs. So it's going to be a lot at stake, a lot of nerves. I'm sure I'm going to be anxious all day on Saturday, and no matter the outcome, going to have a hard time sleeping after the fact. That's for sure. All right, let's do this giveaway. Does anyone need to be added to the giveaway? Has anyone not been able to get added? I want to make sure I get everyone in there. You got like 30 seconds to speak your piece. Otherwise, we're going to be rolling. Before I do that, I want to say thanks to my friends over at Nicolet Law for making these giveaways possible. Without them, I would not be able to do this. So I appreciate them immensely. Shout out to the Nicolet Law, the Midwest personal injury law firm. Whether it's a crash, a slip and fall, or something else that leaves you stranded and out of work, dealing with insurance and medical bills, Nicolet Law knows how to help. They walk you through your options, handle the insurance company so you don't have to, and fight to get you what you deserve. No upfront fees, just local attorneys who show up when it counts. You can reach them at 1-855-NICOLAY or visit nicoletlaw.com. All right. Let me see. I see Chad said, I think it let me enter, but let me check. I can check too, Chad. Just to make sure you're in here. I see Tiffany. Yes, I see you, Chad. You're in there. Anyone else need to be added? Me too. I don't know. Are you saying me too as far as needing to be added, Steve? I see you, Steve. All right. Sweet. I am gonna get you guys. Let's do this giveaway. I think I got everyone then. I didn't check to see if we had duplicates yet. Give me 1 second just to scan this as well. Make sure. It's always so hard because I'm just doing a quick glance at stuff. I'm trying to see that no names jump out at me twice, but I think we're good. All right. Giveaway wheel here. Alfonso, I'm pretty sure I saw you. Yeah, I see you there, Alfonso. All right. Let me share this wheel here. We are doing 2 giveaways tonight. Thanks to my friends at Nicolet Law. Because even when the Packers lose, even something as trivial as meaningless as a Packers loss is on our lives, Nicolet Law has our backs and wants to make it a better week. So here we go, guys. Good luck. 2 winners tonight, and one of which will be getting a signed jersey. Just how it played out. I don't know what the odds are on that, but is it going to be MJ or Joshua? Oh my gosh, Joshua. All right, man. I need a 2 or a 6 from you. The wheel likes to create some drama. 2 or a 6 from you, Joshua, if you're still here. Here we go. Last winner. Brian, if you're still here, you're going to get what's left over. Waiting on Joshua. Joshua gets to say 2 or 6. Uh-oh, Joshua. Oh, there he is. Joshua claimed number 2. Got right here. So if Brian's here, then we'll get number 6. Otherwise, we'll do a redraw. In the meantime, number 2, Joshua. Good luck to you. 50-50 shot here. And Joshua, remove the wrong thing here. Let me remove this for the time being. Joshua, number 2, you got yourself a signed jersey, my friend. Congratulations. Number 2 was the lucky one. But now, Joshua, your game is not done. I need an A or a B from you. So I have 2 signed jerseys. We're giving one away tonight, just based off of randomization. It was going to be what the original plan was. I would give one away whenever it hit. I wasn't expecting it to be the last week of the regular season. And then I would kind of reshuffle and put the second one back in. But what we're going to do is when the Packers season is done, then we will do the other signed jersey by default that game. Like, so if the Packers win the Super Bowl the next week, we are doing that second signed jersey. If they lose in the divisional round, we are doing it that following Tuesday. So Joshua says A. Joshua, you got yourself a signed Lucas Van Ness jersey. Congratulations. So when the Packers do fall out of playoff, either they get eliminated or they win the whole thing, then we will give away the Paul Kaufman signed jersey. So congratulations, Joshua. Stoked for you. Giving Brian just one more minute, and then I'm going to respin, see who's going to win number 6, our final one here. Another 30 seconds or so. I can't believe we made it down to the wire on that. I don't know, like a 1 out of 35 chance that it happens, but the fact that it happens. Oh, there's Brian. He's here. All right, Brian. Let's see here. What'd you get? Number 6. Brian, you snagged yourself a Tim Masta 8x10. The Ginger Wolverine himself. Congratulations, guys. Congratulations, Joshua. I'll get you guys' address and I'll get that mailed out to you. Chad said Tiffany Tully knew it was number 2. I don't know. Hey, if Tiffany calls it, if Tiffany calls it, it's good. That's all I'll say. All right, let's do the story out of the week so we can get out of here, have some fun. This week, story of the week is not, this week's story is by no means a new one. This story's been told so many times, but I absolutely love this story. When Reggie White hit free agency in 1993, Green Bay was nowhere near the top of anyone's list that he would be joining that team. But a unique Packer approach and a crafty voicemail from Mike Holmgren helped change everything. At first, Reggie had no interest in even visiting with the Packers, but Ron Wolf kept pushing and finally convinced Reggie to make a stop in Green Bay while he was in the Midwest visiting the Detroit Lions. So either before or after visiting Detroit, he agreed to stop in Green Bay. Unlike all the other teams, when Reggie arrived, the Packers did basically the complete opposite of every single team. Rather than picking him up in a limo or giving flashy gifts, flashy restaurants, the Packers picked him up in a Jeep, sat him down in a small office, and just talked football with him. That night, instead of wining and dining him at some fancy restaurant in Green Bay, they took him to Red Lobster so he could get his favorite food, catfish. When what they ended up selling him on was simple. They obviously had a strong coaching vision. They had a young quarterback who was on the up and up in Brett Favre, and they had a willingness to compete financially with the market in the NFL. After the visit, head coach Mike Holmgren heard Reggie say that he heard Reggie say in a press conference that God would tell him where he should sign. So Mike picked up the phone, called Reggie, got his answering machine, and left a message. Reggie, this is God. I want you to play in Green Bay. That was it. Hung up. That was it. Not long after, Reggie signed a massive, at the time, 4-year, $17 million deal. It was massive, massive money at the time. Helped change the culture completely in Green Bay, made it cool to play there. A team that was once a team that no one wanted to play and was almost a punishment that you were going to go play in Green Bay. Now was cool, and having free agents sign with them or interested in even playing in Green Bay, which is mind blowing, and really helped played a major role in delivering the team's first Super Bowl in nearly 3 decades. Reggie set a record in that Super Bowl for most sacks by a single player in a Super Bowl. So once again, not a new story. I'm sure all of you have heard it, but I love the voicemail story, and it's just one that I like to tell. It's a fun story. So I hope you guys all have a good rest of your week. I hope we're not doing a double giveaway next Tuesday, but if we are, the show always goes on, and I'll be here doing the live shows at least through the Super Bowl in the following week. So regardless of the outcome, we're going to be here same time, same place every single Tuesday. Appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Appreciate you watching. Appreciate all the comments, interactions. I really can't thank you guys enough. You guys make this a blast. So hope you guys have a good rest of your week. And as always, go Pack Go.